Hey everybody, I'm Bob Bakert, and we're here with Jonathan Butler, who's got a new record coming out. And you should be very excited about it. Marcus Miller has produced it.
Yeah, yes, I'm very excited about it. Man, what a where do I start? You start with Marcus Miller, and you can't go wrong. And I learned this many years ago when I first met him in New York City. I was making a record called "Heal Our Land."
Mm-hmm.
And it was produced by Lawrence Holland, I believe. And Lawrence Holland, the producer, surprised me. He invited Marcus Miller to come play on 2 songs. And Marcus played the ultimate masterclass bass lines on Heal Our Land. Unfortunately, the song was banned in South Africa.
Oh, God.
The government then wouldn't play the song on radio. They wouldn't play the video on air. But that was my first introduction to Marcus Miller. Seriously.
Before we get too far up on him, I want to talk about you, because that's kind of why we're here. So I'm not gonna say this right. It's Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
I can never get that right. I play music. I'm a guitar player as well. I play music on Thursday nights with 2 fellows from Africa. One's from Cameroon and one's from the Ivory Coast.
Oh, nice.
And I try to, no matter what I say, I'm not saying it right. So, Ubuntu. That's not too bad. I'm not too bad.
Yeah.
So tell us about, well, first of all, let me just say a few things about you. There's not that many guys out there that can sing and play their instrument well. There are guys that sing and play their instrument. There are guys that sing really, really well and kind of fool around with the instrument. There are guys that play really, really well, but they can't really sing.
Yeah.
There's not many people out there that can do both, and you're one of them. I mean, you got a great voice. I mean, you go up to high A like I'm talking right here in this, I mean, you've got your timbre throughout your range is incredibly good. Obviously, I'm going to have to draw a comparison to Stevie Wonder. You've got a lot of Stevie Wonder in your singing. I hope that's a compliment.
Well, you're talking all about people that has really impacted my musical life and journey. Stevie was ultimately one of them. The first one that I, growing up in South Africa, we never had music schools or Berkeley or Juilliard. So LPs was our way to study. McCoy Tyner. I remember one of my roommates, a couple of my roommates, one of them was Becky Umsuleko, jazz pianist, and Tony Cedars that played with Paul Simon, the old Graceland tour. We used to listen to LPs, McCoy, Herbie, Benson, Larry Corral, from Philip Catherine, and that's how we that was Berkeley. And for me, I mean, I started as a singer. All of my career as a 6-year-old, I was a singer first. I mean, I sang, I played guitar. I played my brother's guitar, my older brother's guitar, Cecil, but I was a lefty and they were all right-handed. Right. So I had to learn to play their guitars upside down, with the E string at the top and the low E at the bottom. And that really used to infuriate me because I wanted to hear, let me see. I wanted to hear the. I wanted to hear the E string at the bottom so I can manipulate it, So I had to learn to play upside down for many, many years. I played upside down and I still do. I have a bass that's strung right-handed. I have a guitar that's right-handed, so I can keep my brain not from freezing up whenever I get in a jam and people say, "Hey, come play a jam session. Come and jam with us." And usually, I remember doing a jam session, showing up at a club in LA, and Paul Jackson Jr. was playing, and he gave me his guitar. You know, he saw me in the audience, so he handed me his guitar, and I was like, "Man, I'm left-handed." He said, "Ah, man, I'm sure you can play this thing." So I grabbed his guitar upside down, and I became Jimi Hendrix. You know, like just in an instant became Jimi Hendrix. You know, and I was manipulating the E string because I love it so high, and I was going higher and higher, and boom, I snapped the string.
Oh no!
And then I gave his guitar and I left. I just gave him.
That's the last time you've seen him, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm a singer first. And that's my first instrument is singing.
Well, you know, and I know. Let's talk a little bit about culture. I think that would be a really a good thing. Growing up in South Africa,
yeah,
I happened to watch some videos on you because that's what I did, and I saw the like the fire pit scene where you pointed out this is what we would do. Family would sit around the fire pit and we'd all
that's right
and take turns singing, and then if you could sing out, they would say, "Yeah, okay, you're all right."
Oh no, absolutely. That was our, you know, because remember, you know, I come from a family of 12. I believe we were 17. My sisters and brothers just recently at a gathering that I had them visit me at my home. We were sitting around talking, and they would say, Mom had a few miscarriages, and you lost a sister here and a brother there, but we were more than 12. But everyone was. My father was a banjo player and a singer, and my mother played the organ and was a soprano singer. But and they were from different parts of the world. My father came from Liberia, Monrovia. My grandfather, and they played banjo. You know. Yeah. And so my grandfather started the carnival in Cape Town every year. The carnival is really popular, you know, and carnival was this.
We can't have, for some reason,
that was carnival.
Yeah. We can't really hear the guitar because the algorithm.
I need to plug it in. I should plug it in.
No, that doesn't help. It's
okay.
It's Zoom that doesn't allow us to do it.
Okay.
Try to find a new format that allows me to hear the guitars when they're being played.
Yeah, but that was the beginning for me, like listening to my father and my brothers and my sisters singing by the fire, and I used to be so amazed, like the harmonies and just what they call the Guma sound, the Cape Guma sound, which is like. Much like Brazil carnival, and my brothers and sisters, Danny, especially my brother Danny, my older sister Vicky, and Sandra, they toured, and they traveled throughout the country. So, and their stories fascinated me because I really deeply felt like that is what I want to do that's really what I want to do. Even as a child, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
What is the South African sound? What is the vibe? What separates it from other stuff? What would your characteristic?
It is the rawness. It is the rawness of the street music. It's called Cape Guma. We call it the Guma music. And if you listen to early Ibrahim Abdul, we used to know him as Dollar Brand back then when I was a child. But his song Manenberg was such a famous piece of music. I mean, because this Basil Kutsia played the saxophone. And what it was like, it's almost like listening to somebody playing for the first time in their lives, and they create a sound that isn't polished. You know, it's not a polished, like with inversions, we would play like very simple chords, but yet, if you put it all together with a saxophone player or a drummer and percussion, you would find that there's a real rawness, and there's nothing. And it's a music that is a happy music. I mean, I can only describe it that way because when I think of African music, whether it's even in a minor scale, we are able to make even a minor chord, a minor song happy. So I feel like it's a sound that is truly unique to South Africa. I mean, if you think of when you Mr. Killer, I listened to and the early Miriam, you know, they were great guys like Winston Mankunku. They played music that was, it's almost like you've heard it for the first time, you know, someone playing for the first time. And it's not like they've played polished music from a chart. It's like we are creating this music in this moment, and it has a certain rawness to it. But yet, like on my album, there's a song called Coming Home. And this young guy, his name is Don Vino. And Coming Home is exactly the Cape Town sound that I'm describing to you. It's very much a raw sax player. Just, yeah, you know, it's not as polished. I think if I think about music today and the music of yesterday in South Africa, there's a huge contrast because now we have computers, we have you know, we have technology that gives us smoothness and all that stuff, you know. But it's that even my early records, I feel like that had that sort of sense of the ones I did in South Africa. I just had a sense of rawness about it. It was just very street raw, and the information was just what we knew at the time, you know.
The term that I apply to it that's not 100% there is organic. It's very organic.
Yeah. Thank you. For lack of a better phrase, it's organic. Yeah.
It's and the other thing that I noticed about it is there's an author, the way that you present the music, okay? Because I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about South African music. I know quite a bit about your music now because I've been watching it, listening to it for a few days, and watching videos and all that. But the thing that I've noticed about you come with an authenticity from your heart, you know, whether you're singing or playing, and the way you're relating to your audiences. Because there's a really, really cool video of you and Marcus Miller and the guys. The LA is in the background.
Yes.
Kind of a festival.
Yeah.
And that is a really, really good video. And I'll tell you why I really liked it, because your energy was driving that band. And when you have Marcus Miller playing the bass and your energy is the energy that is driving the band, that says a lot about you. You follow what I'm saying? It does.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you, man. You know what? That was the International Jazz Day during COVID at Herbie's house. Man,
That was I loved that. I mean, I absolutely loved it. And everything about it was great. Everything about that was great. I'm going, wow.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. I had a fun time. You know, there's the emerging, you know, I feel like I'm emerging from I would say either from the new to the old, but I'm emerging with this desire to let all of the ancestral history of where I come from come out through the music. I think Ubuntu is an expression of that love and desire and yearning that I've had for a long time, because I feel like, you know, for some time before the pandemic, I feel like, you know, I really didn't know where I was going, you know, in terms of where this, whatever they call smooth jazz genre was going. I only knew that in my heart, I wasn't going there. I wanted to really, I just knew something about the way I felt at the time. I wasn't going there. The world was shifting. I was shifting. I was hanging out with Marcus. Marcus had me play on a Sublimity on one of his songs. And it was even in that song that I just dug deep into.
But you were playing the guitar. You were playing the guitar on that. You weren't.
Yes, I was playing guitar and I was chanting, and I was really digging deep into this well of home. I just felt like this is who you are, and you gotta let this come out. You can't hold it back. You can't hold it back anymore, you know. And so I remember when I was with Marcus, in South Africa, he and Brenda decided to join me on my safari, and I asked him to produce my album, you know.
Yeah.
And in the jungle there, I said to him, you know, Marcus, I'm really here looking for myself. I'm searching for Jonathan Butler, you know. I mean, I said, I really don't know. I've written a lot of music, but I'm not really sure what it is.
Right.
I'm creating a lot of music, but I'm not sure. I really that I don't know where it's taken me, you know, and I feel like I just maybe need to stand back and have somebody else produce this album, you know, and I said because I don't know I feel like I just don't know which path to take, you know.
Well, it's interestingly enough, I love the production of the record. I absolutely. I mean, he totally gets out of the way of the music in the production.
Yes.
And that is the contribution, to know when to have a heavy hand and when to just let it breathe.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
And he did I thought when I was listening to it, I'm going, wow, that breathes. I mean, that really breathes. And that's the producer that does that, because I appreciate good producers, you know?
Right. Me too.
The music is really well written, really well played. And all of your musicians are incredibly connected. I was going to, you know, that I overuse that word, but they're very connected to what you're doing and respectful of everything that's going on. But they're free. It's very free and breathing. And I thought the production was just fantastic. And when you say that to somebody, the production's amazing, people are thinking, oh, violins and horn sections and girl singers and everybody else.
Right.
No,
right.
It's just a little ensemble doing stuff, you know?
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
The bass is the tone. All the tones are wonderful.
And one of the things I heard him touch a song. One of the songs is called Bon Appetit. And he plays fretless bass on it.
I wrote that down as tunes I really like.
He plays fretless bass on it. And I said, man, I haven't heard you play fretless since Heal Our Land. Like, are you playing any more fretless? And he goes, yeah, man, Brenda wants me to play more fretless bass. So.
It's marvelous. Well, your music gives him a really good canvas to put.
Oh man, I can hear it. I mean, like Springtime in Africa, he really paints so beautifully with me in that, you know, the way he does that. It's just incredible.
Well, you're a fine guitar player, and you know this is a guitar magazine, but you're a fine guitar player. In Peace and Shelter.
Yes. Oh my God, that's me and Russell Ferrante.
Yeah. And what's going on with that? You're playing the guitar though, right?
Yes. I mean, he definitely stretched me, because I started writing the song.
Yeah.
You know, he stretched me, man. I was like, when I first sent Russell the tune, I said, Russell, here's this idea I've got, you know.
Yeah.
And he sent me his portion of his ideas. And then I realized, oh, snap, I got to start thinking differently about the way I finger this, all my fingering is going to be. And so I did quite a few, I sat down with the song just to practice the song, just to kind of really get my fingers to operate in the way that Russell is.
You know, the ballsy thing that you did?
Yeah.
This is really ballsy. You know that term, right?
Yeah.
The ballsy thing that you did is that guitar is close mic'd.
Yes.
You have to play cleaner than Mr. Clean himself.
Yes.
I mean, that microphone is like, it has to be like this far away from the strings. And
can I tell you, honestly, I have, I used, and I taught this to I was learning this as I go, because I used to plug my acoustic guitar directly into the preamp.
Right.
You know? And every time I would listen back to it, I never liked the way the guitar sounded.
No, not when you got a mic.
And so I began to experiment with my Neumann at the 102, you know, the small 102. And I had it right on the body, like 2 inches away.
But I tell you, I know that. I heard it.
And then it was like the cleanest, the most crisp, bright, and warm at the same time. You could feel the body, you could feel the wood, and I was like, "This is beautiful." So,
man, I got to tell you, yeah, it is. It's all those things. Because I said, man, that microphone is like on that guitar. I mean, it is like, it's close.
yes,
But the thing is, it's like looking at a pretty woman from this far away. It's like you see all the little dirt in the pores and stuff.
you see all the dirt, right,
yeah.
right,
and you're playing it beautifully.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Playing it beautifully. I go, holy shit, that's ballsy. And I'll tell you something else that you do that's really, really cool. I hinted on this a little earlier. You're talking about you're a singer and a player.
Yes.
Now I watched a video of you at I guess there's a Pasty their studio where you were interviewed and you were there with your nylon string guitar and you were singing and playing live in their studio. Your tunes.
Yeah.
And that you have to be able, because your tunes are not, not G, C, and D. There's a lot going on in your tunes, and rhythmically there's a lot going on in your tunes.
Yeah.
And to pull that off, and to be that confident in your voice, obviously, but to pull that off and be that confident in your guitar and being able to do the whole thing yourself.
Yes.
And that's a big opportunity to be in front of those guys.
Yes.
And you're 100% confident. I mean, there's no question about it. I got this. No, this is what I do. This is who I am. I'm Jonathan Butler. I do that. This is what I do. And it was really, really. I thought to myself, now he is a guy. He doesn't have another guy with him.
Yeah.
No bass player to like hide behind or anything like that. It's just you and your voice, and it was like, it was beautiful.
I tell you something that was really tough for me. Like on one of the cruises that Marcus was hosting, they were honoring Earl Klugh. Was an award, and I love Earl Klugh. I've loved Earl since I was a little boy. I think he's the reason I played nylon. I decided to switch from electric to nylon.
He played with George back in the day.
Yeah. So yes, exactly. So here's Earl standing on the stage, and I'm playing "Living Inside Your Love," one of his old classics, and the dude is like right there, and I was like, oh man, couldn't you just like be at least 20, 30 feet away somewhere where I could just you know what I'm saying? And so
I know exactly. I know what you're saying. Why I haven't. But I know how that would feel. Yeah.
Yeah. And George did the same thing. It was George Benson, Earl Klugh, and me. And George was playing Broadway, and George, said, "Okay, hey Earl, you next, and then Jonathan, you after Earl." So I could hear Earl just like fluently just doing his thing, and when it came to me, something triggered. Just play home, just play like you would play at home,
right?
In South Africa. So I just did that. I kind of went in a Zulu Sutu way and approached the music like that, And it was very much like learning and accepting one's own identity in the middle of all of the amazing music and musicians.
You have a rhythmic thing in your playing.
Yeah.
Your approach, your soloing, and also you're very vocal. Scat singing would call it, but I mean you're very your playing is very rhythmic, very and when I say that, people are thinking that you're like a funk player, playing rhythmically, But
yeah.
No, I mean you're moving your voice is around in rhythm, and it's really creative stuff. And I don't want people to get the idea that you're a singer with a guitar in his hands, that you're a guitar player too. I mean, there's
this is I listen all the time, man. I've listened to during the pandemic. I've literally kind of started even paying more attention, because when I came up as a child,
right,
I was doing popular music. I was doing popular music as a child,
right.
So I kind of skipped over. I kind of skipped over the standards and all that stuff. And so during the pandemic, I kind of took the time to just listen and try to get my hands back into the standard mode. I still would love to do a record of just, a trio record, actually. I would love to, because I mean, I know of so many guitarists that I love over the years and got their music, but I think I still have to go into that direction and one day just close my eyes and do something really,
You mean like
just
guitar, bass, and drums, or
guitar, bass, and drums.
yeah,
Because I love holding, I mean, I know you're not gonna hear this, but I love uh,
right,
uh, I love chords. I love playing. I love playing like that.
yeah,
5 minutes. I love playing like that because to me, accompanying myself is what I've had to do for my sisters when I was little. I had to accompany them when they needed a guitar player. So
right.
I feel like I do that a lot when I'm singing for myself, by
So,
myself.
Springtime in Africa is a great cut, great track.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's a great
Thank
track.
you.
And then, so the record's going to be out this month, right?
Yes, 28.
And the name of it is
Ubuntu.
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 I listened to it this morning, guys and girls out there. It's really good. It's how do I say this? It's a lot of voice, a lot of vocal. There are some pop tunes on there. There's some smooth jazz on there, but then there's also some, deeper stuff in there that I think our audience would really appreciate it. And there's no doubt about it, you're a great singer, and I love the rhythmic thing. And people should check you out on YouTube if they don't know about you, because
thank you, man.
That's where you really, see, what's going on. But the last thing I was going to say is you're going to be on tour.
Yes, I will be. Yes.
You got to have something going on. If you get a guy that's worked with the top, probably arguably the top jazz player of all time, Miles Davis.
Yes.
Yes. And probably arguably the top pop singer of all time, Luther Vandross.
Yes. Yes.
And so when Marcus Miller, who worked with both of those guys and others, of course.
Yes.
When he's playing with you and he's got a big smile on his face.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's got to make you feel good, because that guy's been on stage and created music with Miles, with Herbie, with Luther,
yes.
And when you get a guy like that says, man, you're freaking cool, Jonathan. In so many words, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it just
yes.
That's got to make you feel. I mean, that's pretty high. That's pretty high company you're hanging out with,
I'm totally humbled, man. I think Marcus, when he was in South Africa, when we were there together,
right.
We were in the studio, and all of my friends that I grew up with heard that Marcus Miller was in the studio in Johannesburg. They all came to the studio. It was like a huge party in the studio. I mean, there were guys crying. There were guys saying they're going to burn their bass guitars. There were guys saying, man, there was this, and Marcus playing with all of us was like, that's all. I mean, it's hard to describe what that feels like, because wherever we went, I would play at my friend's house. Marcus would be there, and Brenda and Marcus. I would say, "Hey, Marcus, you don't have to bring your bass. It's okay. I mean, I know you're on vacation.
Yeah.
No. He brings his bass, man, and he played with all of us, all of my friends, man. And it really. I was humbled, man. I'm really humbled. Can you imagine what it was like for me to sing in the studio, knowing that he produced Luther Vandross? I'm like, are you kidding me? What am I going to,
Yeah.
But there was. I think the sprinkle of Africa energy is what really he loves about me. He loves the fact that that's where I'm from, and that's where all of this music is coming from.
Well, your energy and connectedness, your soul to your mouth, to your voice, everything is so obvious.
Thank you, man.
If that's true of everybody in South Africa, then what can I tell you? But it's obvious in you, and that's the deal. So I'm Bob Bakert. That's Jonathan Butler.
Good to meet you, my brother.
With Jazz Guitar Today. The new record is called Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu. Not too bad.
Ubuntu.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Great record. I really, really enjoyed it. I really
Thank
enjoyed watching your videos and watching you perform.
Thank you, brother.
Live.
Thank you.
So I'm highly recommending that people get out to see you.
Thank you, brother.
Because you can't get it from a two-dimensional thing. You got to get out to see you and feel what you do and feel what you are.
Thank you.
And I got to tell you, you got one of the great voices. You really do. You've got.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
I'm a trained singer. I studied. I mean, I know. I trained a lot. Doesn't mean I can sing worth a damn, but I know good singing when I hear it. Okay. And same thing with guitar. I trained on guitar. Doesn't mean I can play with a damn, but I know when I hear it. And you, my friend, you got it.
Thank you so much, my
jazz
brother.
Guitar today, Jonathan Butler. Jonathan, thank you so much. Good luck with the record.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Bob.
Lots of success to you, man.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yes, man. Cheers, man.